session, it also tells us, like, it gives us that opportunity to go back if you want to go back if you've seen some value and you want to hear it again. It's on the YouTube channel. It also gives LaToya or any of the guest speakers the opportunity to promote their activity as well if they want to use the video. Okay, so this is the BEwell Hub series. It's a connection, basically. Very simply put, it stands for business, B, entrepreneur, E, and the wellness. Because after running my business for over 25 years, I've understood that the focus is not just on the business, you also have to focus on the person. And so that was the reason I said mental well-being. I don't mean that we have traumas or we have problems as entrepreneurs, but we have to actually focus on where we can improve, because any little adjustments help us to perform better in life, but also in business. And so if the BEwell started off just with Gary sharing his knowledge and his experience and his journey, entrepreneurial journey, now I bring people like Toya onto the series, and they bring some more light and some expertise and some stories about what they're doing on these subjects. Okay, and so today we have procrastination in business and life. So let me introduce LaToya. LaToya is calling from Lisbon, Portugal.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hailing from Lisbon.
So she likes to talk about culture, healing, coaching, leadership, and women in leadership. These are the topics that she likes talking about. Okay, let me just read her little bio. Freedom and power are her aliases. Yeah? LaToya Zavala, survivor turned thriver of abuse and domestic violence, has been actively transforming lives for 20 years in the US, Mexico, Kazakhstan, and Japan. Formerly in the Navy and now serving the global community. Spiritual inner power coach and motivational speaker, helps conscientious women leaders release blocks and triggers from toxic connections and collective conscious suppression, reaching the next level of knowing, loving, trusting, believing in, and being their truest and most authentic selves, so that they can act in courage, confidence, and power. So today we have LaToya. She's going to talk to us about procrastination and give us some insights. And so if you've got questions, just put your thumbs up. If not, you can put the question in the chat, because to avoid disrupting the conversation. So LaToya will just give us a little some breakthroughs on the topic, and then after about half an hour, 25 minutes, half an hour, we'll stop and we can go into breakout rooms with some questions to go a little bit deeper into the subject. So is that clear? So if you have any sort of questions that have to be asked in that moment, just put your thumbs up or write it in the chat, and then LaToya can address that. So let's start. LaToya, introduce yourself. Let's go.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this space. First of all, Gary, thank you for your heart, and thank you for opening this space. And I feel honestly very special. I feel very specialist about this space. So yes, you've heard my bio, and very quickly, my heart is to help people be their highest and best selves. I have 3 children, 2 of them biological and 1 of them adopted. And my adopted child comes from a very, very troubled and traumatizing place. I say that to say, and my youngest, my biological youngest is a little baby girl. And I say all that to say that the reason why we're here, and I believe that spaces like this are created and talks like this are happening, is because not only for ourselves to be our best selves, to be the best that we can be, to leave the best that we can leave on this planet, not only to elevate who we are living right now, but to make it a better place for our children, right? To make it a better place for the next generation. That is really, really super important to me. And so this is why I'm here. This is why I am being in these kinds of spaces with you, with people like you, who I really truly believe are intending to vibrate on a higher frequency. And the more of us that we can get in these spaces to do that, is the better it will be for the generations that are coming after us. I really firmly believe that. And so, interestingly enough, we could talk about it on a very, bigger scale. Like, Elon Musk is like, we got to preserve ourselves by going to Mars. I appreciate him. I'm not sure I fully buy into that, but I appreciate the desire. And here we are talking about things a little bit more grounded and here on our planet, like procrastination. and how we can heal through it, move through it, and overcome it, so that we can continue on our path of leaving the legacy and the light that we're meant to leave. And I think that we can start there. Gary, you're right with that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, looking at procrastination, obviously, this is the BEwell, so it's business and entrepreneurial wellness. But I think procrastination is seen across our lives, not just in business, right?
Right.
I mean, procrastination could be even in, I don't know, those New Year's resolutions that we always, at the beginning of the year, we say, okay, from the 1st of January, I'm going to go to the gym every week, or I'm going to eat less, or I don't know, whatever. And then you start it off, and then you say, well, every day seems a lot. Let's just do 3 times a week, or maybe just do once a week. And then you just put it off. And before you know what, you get to March, April, and you're not doing any of that stuff. Is that, and you say, I'll do it in the summer when I have more time. So you move it. So I see that procrastination, that's just an example. I think there must be surely other examples of.
Yeah, it shows up in many places, right? So it shows up, like you said, in our business, in our lives. It shows up in very small ways, and it shows up. What happens is it shows up in very small incremental ways, and then the result is at the end of the day, right? Exactly what you're describing. So I intend to drink more water every day, and I go out to eat, and I'm like, but a Coca-Cola would be really nice with this meal, and then it starts off really incrementally, and then by the end of the quarter, as I'm looking at whatever I'm using to mark my progress, I'm like, oh, damn it. Right? It's the end of the day, right? It's the long term. And I'd like to talk about 2 of the big guns, and then some of the smaller violations. I'll call them that, violations, right? I'm using these words because
what I specialize in
they cause some emotion. I think we have to mute.
And so that they can
kind of have to mute
through their life.
Okay, here we go. All right, so I want to talk about a really big gun. If I can just start there, so we could just boom, just like get into it. Can we do that? Yeah. One of the big things that that I think is talked about when we talk about procrastination, the biggest and most common is fear. And it absolutely needs to be talked about, but I'm going to table that for a moment because that's the expected. That's the expected. All right, so keep that in your mind for a moment. That's the expected. And I'm going to go outside of that for a moment, okay? And I'm actually going to talk about expectations. So I'm going to, Gary, can I share a screen real quick? Because we may have some visual learners, and I really want them to see this.
Yeah, these procrastinations, is it because we just feel uncomfortable, or we are not ready mentally or physically or internally to make this change? Because I think that's what it's all about. When we decide we want to do something, we have the idea, and then what happens? That's the question. Why do we procrastinate? Why do we postpone it?
Right, so there's two big guns. Oh, am I allowed to share screen? Can I share screen?
I think I'm gonna have to make you the
Can you
host.
allow me?
A moment. No, how do I make you the? Right, I go into the participants and I make you share, make host. There you are.
All right. Boom. You have done it. All right. Can everybody see that? All right, so you may have heard of the Pygmalion effect, or another way that's called the Rosenthal effect, right? Dr. Rosenthal really developed this theory. He was really working with teachers in the education space. But his experiments have been repeated over and over and over and over again. They've been repeated in many, many, many different areas, athletics, business, you name it, right? And some of the definitions are on the left. But it really boils down to this. We very often rise or fall based on expectations, right? So the very visceral way that you can see it, right? If the teacher in the teacher's mind sees, oh, blonde hair, green eyes, and their perception of blonde hair, green eyes is they are the most brilliant, genius kids in the world, they will begin to treat that child as if it's the most brilliant, genius child in the world. That child, even though that child may have learning deficiencies or other things, will begin to act and perform based on the expectation, as long as that expectation is consistent enough in the child's life. And it goes both negative and positive ways. So now what does that have to do with procrastination? If you look at this graph, right? We're talking about our behaviors, right? Procrastination is a behavior based on, we'll talk about what it's based on in a minute, but here's where the behavior is. You see our actions, right? That circle, our actions impact the way other people believe about us or think about us, right? And they have this thought, this idea that they begin to project and think about you, speak to you, speak over you. This happens in business, in your family, it happens in your relationships, everywhere, right? We begin to act. We either rise or fall based on those expectations. Then because we're acting on those expectations, it reaffirms our own beliefs about ourselves. And our own beliefs about ourselves is the underpinning that goes back into our actions. So do you see how that self-fulfilling prophecy is happening? Right? So somewhere along the line, if there's a negative pattern, and we'll call it negative, but if there's a pattern that you just don't want in your life anymore, i.e. procrastination, then we got to look at this and see, okay, so where is the belief? Where are the expectations, whether it's in our past, it's in our subconscious, it's in the people around us, it's in the company we work for, it's in the business that we're building, somehow underlying that we may not even know, right? It's in what we expect of ourselves as a parent, as a woman or a man or a person, as person of your culture, whatever your culture may be, as a leader, as a person in your industry. There are so many roles and labels and expectations and projections as to what's supposed to happen on a Monday, what's supposed to happen by the end of the week, what's supposed to happen on January 1st, what's supposed to happen for your wellness and your well-being. And right, there's all these expectations, and a lot of times they're not aligned with what we actually want, who we actually are, right? And what we actually want to believe about ourselves. So somewhere along this pattern, we have to get off the wheel. And oftentimes, we a lot of times talk about fear and confidence, and those things are the big guns, absolutely. But this is a big one that's often missed. And it really begs attention because it has been proven over decades now that this is definitely a motivator of behavior, whether positive or negative. So I wanted to bring that out. Let me stop share. Hold on, can I? Boom. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where am I? Oh, there we are. Okay, there we are. Lower my hand. The question was, so our expectations of ourselves, expectations of certain people. Like, so for example, I'm just trying to reframe this to understand better. So I don't know, I would behave differently with you than I would with Mohammed, because you two have different expectations of me. Is that what you're saying?
It's quite possible. It absolutely is quite possible. So now, what is, again, we're going deeper into the layers, right? What does Muhammad expect of you? Sometimes you're not sure what he expects of you, but because he's a man in the Middle East, or because he knows that you run BEwell, or because you know that he knows you run the language school, you start projecting, oh, he's expecting this of me. He's expecting this of me. He's expecting this of me. And so you begin to rise or fall based on those expectations, especially if Muhammad starts to speak or act towards you and confirms those expectations.
Okay, so let's take for example, I'm a very rational, I don't know, so I'm trying to understand. So with Mohammed, I say to him, okay, I'll send you an email. Okay, I'll send you an email on Monday. I don't know, this could be just a business transaction, right?
Sure.
And then I postpone it. I don't send him the email on Monday for whatever reason, I don't know. And it's on Tuesday, and I said, oh, I'll send it to you by Friday. Okay, so I'm procrastinating this task, this action.
Yeah.
So my question is, am I doing that because I have Mohammed in front of me, or am I doing that because it's Gary that just not able to take the responsibility, or would I be the same with you, for example, than I am with him, or is the procrastination?
I love that. I love that question.
If it's something internal or if it's something external, that's.
I love that question. I love that question. It's both. And what's extremely important is that we are asking that question. Because you can have a coach, you can have a psychologist, you can have a psychiatrist, but absolutely truthfully, only you know that answer. I'll give you an example that's extremely similar to what you just said. I put dinner in front of my son, my middle son, the one who's adopted. He eats slowly, typically. Part of it is because that's his way of getting attention. So I say to him, you gotta eat your food, gotta eat a little quicker, brother. You gotta eat a little quicker, gotta eat a little quicker, brother. And the more that I do that, the slower he goes. Why? Because he knows this is the attention that he's getting, right? My husband comes in the room with a very different expectation. With a very different expectation. My husband comes to the room and says, I see you're eating slowly, man. I guess that means you won't get the surprise that I have upstairs. I have never seen that brother eat so quickly. I have never seen him eat so quickly, right? There's an expectation. So now, if you know that Muhammad is okay with getting the email on Wednesday, and he's okay with getting the email on Thursday, and he's okay with getting the email on Friday, and there's no real consequence or expectation from him. Otherwise, then you may lean on some of the behaviors and the beliefs that you have about yourself.
Yeah,
See, somebody's expectation is going to override. You already expect from yourself. If we're caught in procrastination behavior, you are already expecting from yourself that you're probably not going to be on time.
yeah, but Emily, I'm going to come to you for 1 second. Just want to underline this point. Just understand that. So the reason is that me sort of, I don't want to, maybe it's not the wrong word. I don't know the expression, taking advantage of Mohammed's flexibility, or is it just me not, because if I do that, if I say I'm going to send you an email on Monday and I don't do it, and Mohammed doesn't say anything, he says, well, I didn't get the email. Then on Tuesday, he doesn't get the email. He's not worried. He doesn't sort of push me for the email. What is this? What's the communication I'm giving out? Is it I'm trying to him? Does he understand a little bit more about me? Does he understand a little bit more about himself being so accommodating? Or saying that Gary is not reliable because he said Monday and nothing's coming through, and so we have something about he knows about himself, but he also knows something about me through that inaction.
Absolutely, all of the above. So now you see Rosenthal's circle happening, right? Because you're now reinforcing an expectation that he expects. Oh, next time Gary says I'm going to send it on Monday, it's probably going to be Friday, right? Now his behavior towards you, which is not asking you again, not pressing you, not really, is reinforcing your expectation of yourself. I don't have to get it to him right at a time. And now you're both caught in this circle. His behavior towards you is reinforcing the behaviors you're already doing. And now you're confirming for yourself, I'm a procrastinator. It's okay to procrastinate. And then you continue the behavior, and then he continues his behavior towards you. Gary. And then what's going to happen is Emmeline is going to say, hey, Mohammed, did you get that email from Gary? And Mohammed's going to say, Gary, he's going to send it probably next week. That's the way he is. That's who he is, right? Now, both Mohammed and Emmeline have this idea of you, and they now behave towards you in that way. You're receiving this communication non-verbally, posturally, behaviorally, and it confirms for you, this is who I am. It's okay. They accept me this way. And you continue the behavior.
Emily, go. Ask the question, Emily.
I was wondering where entitlement comes into play. Into this scenario, you were sketching about around expectation and then Pygmalion effect. Where does entitlement comes in? Because me personally, as in my situation, the email was expected from someone else, but they have this idea they don't need to pitch up no matter what you do. So that person has a bad reputation around reliability to email you back.
Yes.
And yes, and the excuse
in
of
your
the person
mind.
is yes, yes, but many people. I'm talking now about one person, and the person's excuse is he only emailed people who are willing to have a personal relationship with him.
So,
and he stand on that. He stand on that.
See.
So is the people who are backing off from this entitling him to keep on with that behavior?
I see. Okay, so now there's entitlement and there's enabling, right? Enabling.
Yes, enabling is the word.
Enabling. Yes.
He
Yes.
becomes entitled, and the rest of the people
And
is
we
enabling.
enable. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So now, if Gary said, I'm going to send you an email on Monday, and Tuesday comes, no email. Wednesday comes, no email. Friday comes, no email. And then Saturday, Mohammed finally gets the email. Mohammed now has a choice. Does he allow this to be okay or not? Does he accept this in his life or not? Is the email worth this behavior or not? Is he in alignment with this behavior or not? Right? Because the truth is, we do enable, right? We allow, but they're not our responsibility. So now we have a choice. If I don't want this alignment, if I don't want this energy, if I don't want this relationship in my life, and I want Gary to know this is not okay with me, now I have some choices to make. But it's really important that we end that phrase with me, right? That we don't, what's the word that I want to use? It's really important that our assessment is of ourselves, right? Because is this okay with me? I can get stuck. I can still be stuck in that circle if I continue to communicate with him, even though I'm upset, I'm frustrated, I'm bothered, but I continue to allow this to happen in my life. Now I've got to do some self-reflection. What's going on with me, right? What is the projection that's happening onto me? And what's going on inside of me, right? Why I'm enabling this and I'm allowing this and I'm in this circle, right? Because I can allow Gary, this is going another direction, but this really comes into transformation, right? His behavior is not my responsibility. My well-being is my responsibility, right? And if he thinks, this is my mode of operation, this is who I am, this is how I'm in flow, this is the people who interact with me are going to be inside this flow. There are people who will love that. There are people who are they're completely within themselves, they're in their well-being, they don't want structure, they want flow. They'll get the email on Saturday and they'll be like, oh, it was divine timing, right? Like there are people who are like that. And so it's really important for us to kind of come out of judgment and really do the self-assessment, the self-transformation, the self-questioning. Is this okay for me? Am I in alignment with this? Or do I need to jump off of this circle because it's triggering me in a way that's not for my well-being? Is that helpful?
You know, we're talking about, can I ask you another reflection on procrastination? Because procrastination is always the negative, you know, it's like, just has to send me a message here, lower my hand. Okay. Lower my hand. It tells me, the computer's telling me to lower my hand. We're looking at procrastination as something negative, right? Because no one wants to procrastinate, because when you decide to do something, you want to do it. But there are moments when procrastination can also be helpful. If you look at it, sometimes when you're procrastinating, why am I not sending the email? Going back to the email, or maybe even a phone call. You know, when you have to make a phone call, a really important phone call, and you put it off by, I'll do it after lunch, I'll do it this evening, I'll do it tomorrow morning. It happens to us all. It's like, you know, that phone call that maybe you don't want to, you know, pay the landlord, or I don't know, something that happens, and you put it off and you postpone it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
The
that.
question here to you, LaToya, is when can procrastination be positive or helpful? Is my question.
Yeah, I love that question. I love it, love it, love it. And so I would like of us to think of it in three P's. There is a difference between pausing, processing, and procrastinating. And the difference is the intention and the energy behind it, right? And a lot of time, most of us, the researchers are telling us that more than 90% of our behavior is subconscious. We're not intending to behave the way that we're behaving. We just are. We're running on our habits. We're running on who we have always been. We're running on who our families and our businesses and the people around us have expected us to be, and we have been. A lot of this running in the subconscious. So now when we are conscious, when we choose to be conscious, then we have the 3 P's: pause, process, and procrastinating. Pause is like, what the intention behind pause is, it's okay to be unsure. It's okay to take a moment and assess. It's okay to feel in my body. It's okay to read this email 2 or 3 times before I respond. It's okay to take this call or make this dinner before I respond. This is pause. Pause is giving yourself grace, giving yourself space, giving yourself honor, right? This is pause. Process is the next step, right? If I need space to process, that means, all right, let me dig into this email a little more before I respond. Let me research what you have said before I respond. Let me ask a few people about this date before I respond, right? Process, hold on, let me look at the weather. Let me see how I have been speaking for the past 2 months and see if this conversation style works for me, right? This is, let me journal out what this could be, right? This is process. And this is also giving yourself grace and space, honor, respect, right? So this is process, and we are worthy of those 2 things. Procrastination carries a very different energy. Procrastination carries the energy of, it could carry the energy of fear. It could carry the energy of stagnation or stuckness. It could carry the energy of expectations, which then carries overwhelm. It can carry the energy of low self-esteem or self-worth or low confidence. Confidence, by the way, carrying as a part of the definition, I rely on myself, right? That is actually a part of the definition. I can rely on myself. So very directly related to energy behind procrastination. If I don't feel like I can actually rely on myself, back to the Rosenthal circle.
Okay,
I don't rely on myself.
They got some questions here for you, LaToya. They got Emmeline has had a hand up. Go, Emmeline, you got a question?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Reflection.
So if I can summarize it, kind of what I'm getting out of this, procrastination can then in a negative way be a coping mechanism or a defense mechanism. And for the person that is procrastinate, it is beneficial then. It's not necessarily beneficial for the other people who have to put up with the procrastination, but the person itself see it as a benefit for themselves. Is that correct?
I would say it's a benefit for yourself. Yeah, okay. Yes.
You think you
It's a
perceive it's a benefit.
You perceive it's a benefit for yourself. Absolutely. Because the body wants to be comfortable. And it wants to be comfortable. So if I have to go outside to take a walk and it's cold, this is uncomfortable. And so the body's going to lean towards procrastination because being in my warm house on the couch is comfortable, right? And so, yes, there's a benefit. Oh, I'm so glad that you brought this up, because there's always going to be a subconscious benefit to procrastination. The work then for us is to bring that forward to the conscious and actually decide, is this benefit worth it in comparison to what I want in my life, right? Yeah. Is this, to bring it home, like Gary says, the benefit of sitting on my couch and being warm, oh, this is absolutely beneficial to my body, very comfortable. But now I bring that forward, I'm like, okay, I'm procrastinating because it's cold outside and it is so warm in here and it feels good to be warm in here. Be honest and truthful with yourself, right? And then, oh, this is such a good benefit. But at the end of the day, and really physically, at 8 p.m. at the end of the day, the benefit of walking in that crisp, cool air for my body, for my mind, for my soul, it does truly outweigh sitting on this couch in the warmth, right? This is the mindset shift, but it can only happen if we're really truly honest with the perceived comfort and benefits that are coming with the procrastination. So thank you so much for that question, Emily. Absolutely.
Mohammed's got a question for you, LaToya.
Yes, Mohammed, absolutely.
Thank you. LaToya, I love that how you shed the light on the three P's, yeah, that is pause or processing or procrastination.
Yeah.
Because I think for myself, you know, I say, all right, I really have to know what is what. And to be, as you now just said, to be very honest with myself, because my procrastination is working like that. My head is very good in convincing me, man, you need a pause. You need that, okay? Or, okay, just process it some more and more and more and overthinking and never ever starting with it. But I say, yeah, because I need to process more, okay? So to have the awareness and the self-reflection and to be honest, okay, come on. Is it really, do you need a pause really? Is it really the processing or is it procrastination? And for myself, procrastination, it's negative, because at the end of the day, I get things not done as I would like to do them. It has to do with fear. I think you will touch on that subject. Fear and not being comfortable, like you said before. And yeah, the only thing I thought now with Gary saying maybe there is something positive in procrastination. I was thinking for myself, okay, what can I see positive in procrastination? For myself, it is that it should turn on now the self-reflection. Why do you procrastinate? And if you start to dig, I think you will get so much out of it for yourself, for your development, not in that one subject you just procrastinated, but for your whole life, I think. So yeah, thank you for that. And how to the question for you, how to pinpoint if the pause you do now isn't procrastination, how to pinpoint the processing you do isn't procrastination. So can you give some help on that? Thank you so much, LaToya.
Yes, absolutely, and thank you for that question. And you so beautifully summarized it. I am with you so much. I am a processor, and my husband is a processor, being an engineer. So I am totally in this energy. And I don't know if you know human design, but it's kind of like a personality type of thing, more aligned with energy though. And in my type, it says that we typically process for 28 days. And I was like, well, damn it, that is way too long. But I find myself doing that. I find myself not even responding to a message sometimes after a month has happened. So I feel you, right? And again, what really is important for us as we're doing this differentiation is being in the conscious, right? So really setting the intention and purpose. It's well and good for us to say, we're processors. That's what we do. We have to process. Okay, so now based on this decision you're going to make that needs to be made, you're like, no, I gotta pause. I gotta honor myself. I have to process. Be very intentional about the purpose and the end state of this processing. I'm not just processing to process because I'm a processor. No. I'm processing to make a decision. What I want to know is X, Y, and Z. What I want to process is X, Y, and Z. I'm pausing because I want to feel in my heart whether this is good or not. Therefore, take your time to feel it. I'm feeling, is this good in my heart or no? I'm gonna give myself 3 days. 3 days I have felt, it's good in my heart, it's not, it's good. Okay, once you felt it and you're, okay, you're moving on, right? It's really important, the end state of the processing and the pausing, the intention. Like you have to know, I'm processing because this is the end of this processing. And then give yourself the space to do what you need to do. You will know at the end of that, now we're moving into procrastination because I have processed. Is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. And to be conscious of what you're doing. And thank you so much.
Listen, we're not going to have time to go into breakout rooms, I think, because we've got 15 minutes. So I think we can just stay here if everyone agrees, and we can just continue the conversation, asking LaToya questions and reflections and insights and so on. Okay. I've got a question, and then Jackie, you can come after me. Just one question was, you know, the expression, let me sleep on it.
Yes.
Let's sleep on it, or we say that, don't we? What is it? The night brings good advice, or something like this. There's an expression.
Yes.
Is that what is that? Is that procrastinating? Is that reflecting? Is that giving yourself space? What is that expression? Let's sleep on it.
Okay. So the truth is, only you know. Only you know, which goes back to your intention, right? Being conscious of the intention. So let me put some foundation under that. There is truth, there is science, there is research, there are multiple examples that sleeping on it is powerful and brings insight and brings understanding from your subconscious. There is multiple research and examples of greats like Alexander Graham Bell and others who intended, I'm going to sleep on this because your brain goes into a different wave state. So the strategies are, ask yourself the question you're wanting to know right before you go to sleep, or writing it because that activates different parts of your brain. So writing it out, the question that you want to know or the decision you're trying to make right before you go to sleep, your brain will go into a different wave state and will bring answers from your subconscious. If you believe in a divinity, what happens when you go to sleep, your defenses are down and your subconscious comes to the forefront. What's really truly in your heart, in your mind, in your higher self. If you believe in divinity, this is an open state where you're more connected to what you believe the divine to be. So there's multiple understandings that
that could also be seen as, let's say, looking at the positives, you know, trying to get away from the negatives of procrastination. I'm just trying to say, giving yourself some space.
Giving yourself some space. If in fact you are actually doing that. So again, this is back to only you know. right? Because I can say it and not sleep on it. I can say it, I can say, Gary can say, hey, can you speak in September? I said, let me sleep on that. And I completely forget about your request at all, right? And I don't sleep on it. Or I'm afraid of
But
speaking.
you're going to have to give an answer the next day. If you say, let me sleep on it, you're as you go back to your expectations, I'm expecting I'm expecting an answer the next day if you've slept on it.
And then we go back to the Rosenthal wheel, right? Because then if I don't get back to you the next day, what's going to be your response, right? And then I say, oh, I haven't slept on it. I need 2 more days to process, back to Muhammad. And then you're like, oh, okay, no problem. I've got some time to hear your answer, right? And then only I know. Is it fear of speaking? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of success? What am I going to do if somebody contacts me? Is it fear of appearance? People are going to judge me. Oh my God, I don't speak the way that they speak, right? Only I know why I'm telling you I'm going to sleep on it. Only I know whether I'm actually wanting to sleep on it and hear the answer, or I'm procrastinating because something deeper is happening inside of me.
Thank you, LaToya. Jackie, you had a thought?
Yes. So I was, as we were discussing this about procrastination, I'm the opposite. I want to get things, I usually get things done as soon as I get them. But what if I have someone in my team or in my life who likes procrastinating? How can I adjust my expectations? Or if we've had a conversation of, okay, I expect you to do this at the time you tell me you would do it, and then the person doesn't, how can I adjust that relationship or interaction to get things done? Because I don't understand procrastination. I feel like, yes, it's good to have time to process, to pause, but then at the same time, we need to get things done. So how can I handle or deal with people that procrastinate in my life?
Mm-hmm. Beautiful question. Beautiful question. Gary, can I still share?
Yeah, I think you're still the host.
All right. One moment. Okay.
Yes.
There's only so much you can do, right? Because procrastination is a personal thing. When it comes to your team, helping this person beyond productivity might be part of your legacy, right? Because productivity says set a timer, have real life consequences, have real life rewards, have maybe someone else on your team as an accountability person. Research says that the more accountable we are to actual people, the more likely we are to accomplish. So some of those things are external, but if it comes to helping the person transform, this is different. So here are some things, more subtle things. The big guns are fear, expectation, and lack of self-confidence. Those are the real big guns. But here are some of the smaller things that people don't even realize are affecting them, their productivity and their procrastinating tendencies. And the one is environment. Now, Bruce Lipton did extensive research on stem cells and its relationship to us. Nutshell, your environment matters. It matters greatly. It will drain your energy and it will cause you to procrastinate. Physical environment and people environment. How are they affecting you? Is your environment cluttered? Is it dim with light? Is it dim lighted? Is it too small? Is it too expansive? Only the person knows how these things affect them. And sometimes it can be a shift of environment. It can be a shift of colors. It can be a shift of desk space. The environment matters for productivity. Enough time in personal fulfillment. There's research in companies that if they gave their employees time and actual accountability, not in a negative sense, but actually asking them, did you fulfill yourself this weekend? What made you happy this weekend? How did you give yourself pleasure this weekend? I'm gonna use different words, but you know what I mean? That this then feeds into whether they're procrastinating at work or not. Enough time connected to the bigger picture, in you and your business and on your team. How much are we talking about the purpose, right? The bigger picture, the end game, the energy behind what it is that you're doing. I found in the military that a lot of our military members were procrastinating because they're not privy to confidential matters or secret matters, meaning they don't know why we're circling the South China Sea for 90 days. They just know that they've got to clean the ship, paint the ship, chip the ship, do whatever they're doing. They have no idea that we're being shadowed by Russia and China. Therefore, they procrastinate, not understanding the importance of the role, the bigger picture of the role that they play. And it needed to be a consistent reminder because we can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. Enough time connected to the soul of their work, right? So what is the soul of it? Why are they doing what they do? In their own soul, not your purpose, which is different, their purpose for what they're doing, and allowing space for that in the actual work environment. And their energy vampires. Now that might be like a team productivity meeting, right? 10 minutes to, not 10 minutes, that's too much time. 5 minutes to brainstorm. What are your energy vampires? What sucks your energy, right? There are people that suck your energy more than you could ever know. Before I do a talk like this, I cannot talk to my sister, my biological, I can't do it. She's the energy vampire. And I just know that, being honest with myself. I gotta call her later. I can't do it. Right? There are food energy vampires. There are book energy, there's TV energy vampires, social media, there are energy vampires all around us, and we have to know what they are for ourselves, and our relationship with time. So I'm going quickly because I know we're running out of time. I just had a conversation with a client. She's getting ready to start something big, and she said, I'm procrastinating. And I said, why are you procrastinating? What's the energy behind it? And she said, I think not believing in myself, low confidence, low self-esteem. And having known her a little bit and working with her energy, I said, that's not it. You don't have fear and you are not low in confidence. And I know this about this project. I know this. That's not it. And she said, I feel like it's like a little kid saying, I want to be a doctor. And I said to her, are there not steps for this little kid to then become a doctor? And she said, out of her mouth, yeah, but it's gonna take so long. And I said, there it is. That is your block. So sometimes we think it's fear, it's, the big guns, and it's not. What is our relationship with time? Time. Just the thought can get you stuck, and then in this circle of procrastination. So helping the person understand for themselves, what's their relationship with time? And if you need some questions, just contact me. I'll let you know like how to help somebody understand their relationship with their relationship with time. But yeah, so those are some of the more subtle things. That was a long way of but I wanted to get there, Jackie, because we can help people help themselves. And a lot of times they think it's something else, right? And if we can just get to some of these subtle things, it's unimaginable how it can free up our productivity space.
Great.
Sorry, Gary, I know that was long, but
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a very in-depth answer. I love the energy, energy vampires. I think I'm looking for a vampire. So if someone wants to come and talk about vampire energy sucking and draining, whatever, just get in contact with me. I think, so as we're coming to the end, okay, we're looking at procrastination as in postponing, overthinking, processing, pausing, self-reflection. So it is seen as negative, but there are also some positive aspects that give you a little bit of space to breathe. Maybe when you're a little bit stressed and not taking on too many things, might be an idea just to move it a little bit, so it gives you a bit of stress management, let's say. It also, I think, procrastination, whether we want to say procrastination or space or whatever, also gives pausing gives other people the opportunity also to step in sometimes, and maybe to give you a hand or take the initiative, because sometimes I'm a doer, and I've had to step back because I'm a person who's full on, you know, I want this, I've got to do 100 things. And I've understood with my self-reflection, with my personal growth and so on, development, I've had to step back. And stepping back is giving other people the opportunity to step forward. And so that's also could be seen as positive through procrastination. It's not all negative.
Yeah, and can I say one more thing? And yeah. I basically, based on what you said and what Jackie said, in our self-reflection, I used to be an overworker too, like workaholic. And sometimes, just for self-reflection, sometimes being the doer is also a form of procrastinating. And this is cause for self-reflection. I've seen people do it, like they know they need to make an appointment for the mammography, right, to do the mammogram, and it's self-care, and it means that you're actually taking time for yourself to love yourself and be with yourself. And no, but I got to do this talk, I got to prepare this presentation, they can't do it without me, and she needs my help, and we do this because we're actually procrastinating on something else in our lives. So I wanted to share that, because this could also be someone around you or someone on your team. That was me. I was procrastinating on my mental health for years. By being the doer. So it's really important for us, really and truly, to have the balance, right? To have the balance, and really, I think maybe use the word pause and process rather than the procrastination, because we can be the doer and still be procrastinating.
Emily's got another question. Emily, go.
Not really a question, or yes, kind of a question. It's in response to what LaToya was telling now. Doesn't that fall under sublimation when you do positive stuff to blot out something that you cannot deal with, to forget about it, to push it behind in a corner of your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's positive. It's good. It's good. Yeah, but is it really? And only you know, and it's really important that, and I love that Gary's saying, right, that we're doing this self-reflection, because to everybody else, it looks amazing, right? You're getting stuff done, you're accomplishing, you're on the roll, you know, and you've got all the plates spinning in the air, and only you know, and the person that you allow yourself to be vulnerable with and let in. It's really important for us to ask these questions. And Gary, to your question, right? Asking ourselves today, all right, am I procrastinating? Am I pausing? Am I processing?
Brilliant. I think we're gonna take that away. LaToya, I think I'm gonna take that away. It's my takeaway is to ask myself, am I pausing? Am I processing or overthinking? Or am I
overdoing?
Overthinking. Yeah, I think I'm going to take away. Anyone else taking something away from here? What, Mohammed, are you taking away from this hour with LaToya?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Like I said, you know, the difference between the pausing, the processing, and the procrastination, and just to bring more awareness, to try to bring more awareness, more consciousness to what we do, why. So that's great, and I will, if you allow me, LaToya, that I will use that with my clients. Only you know, that's really, I think, the key. Okay, we can't tell people, okay, you man, you're procrastinating, or and you're pausing or processing. Only you know. That's a big one. Thank you so much, LaToya, and thank you, Gary, for that, for bringing us together to today. It was a great experience. Thank you so much.
I think we need these spaces just to get together and talk about these things that you can't talk to other normal people about, let's say, because sometimes it's difficult. This kind of a topic, you can't sit down at a bar with a beer and start talking about procrastination, processing, and they just say, come on, let's get real, Gary. And so, and I love these spaces because people like LaToya and other speakers come on and actually just push us a little bit, you know, here, and not just in the directions of actually opening up and understanding ourselves better and the way we are and the way we work and the way we move around. So I think that's, so a big thank you to you. So we're going to close up. Next week, I'm going to have another person here called Teresa Brooks, I hope, and she's going to be talking about networking, the importance of networking in business, in life. What is it? How do we do it? Why do we do it? Don't do it, and all that kind of stuff. So again, another conversation around that topic. If you see these BEwell events, try and promote them, share them with your connection, with your community, with your friends. Try and come along. If you can't, the videos are on YouTube, so you can watch them if you want. And if you have any interesting speakers, or do you guys want to speak about something interesting, just send me a message, and you could be the guest speaker, and we'll give you the space. Okay. So thank you for being here, and have a great day, and we'll see you hopefully next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, LaToya. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.